Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're tackling a massive, deeply frustrating mystery that completely plagues countless creators. You know the exact feeling, right? You upload an absolute masterpiece. The research is flawless, the audio is perfectly crisp, and crickets. The algorithm just treats it like a ghost. There's this fundamental thing about how the platform actually evaluates faceless channels that most of us just never figure out. And honestly, the really tragic part? By the time you finally notice something's off, this invisible gap has already been quietly holding your channel back for months, maybe even years. So we're going to decode exactly what's happening behind the scenes today, because literally nobody explains this clearly.
Now, right off the bat, I want to be crystal clear about this invisible engagement gap. This isn't some wild tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. We aren't talking about shadowy platform developers sitting in a dark, smoke-filled room deciding to ruin your day. Not at all. This gap is simply the reality of how the algorithm evaluates content when there's no face on the screen. It's a purely mechanical, data-driven process. And the good news, once you actually understand it, you can completely change the game for your content.
Look, it's the exact question every frustrated creator asks themselves at 2 a.m. when a brand new upload tanks. It feels so incredibly personal, doesn't it? You put in the blood, sweat, and tears, you do the work, yet the views just absolutely flatline. Well, throughout this explainer, we're going to completely dismantle this myth today. You're going to see exactly why it feels like suppression, and much more importantly, what is actually happening instead.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The Faceless Creator Mistake.
To solve this whole puzzle, we first have to understand the fundamental error that kicks off this negative cycle. Here's the massive trap almost every new creator falls into. We just assume that as long as we have rock-solid information and a highly compelling story, the video will soar, right? Just like any other content. But here's the kicker. The algorithm doesn't just evaluate what you're saying. It strictly judges your content on second-by-second viewer retention. It's literally watching how long people stay engaged with the shifting pixels on their screen. And faceless content? Well, it has a very specific structural weakness here that most folks never even account for.
Moving on to Section 2, the algorithm's retention reality.
So, how does the system actually view your content? Well, the algorithm evaluates faceless content entirely differently than your traditional face-to-camera formats. It really all comes down to a missing ingredient, something you probably don't even realize is gone until you stare at your retention data. That missing ingredient is what we call natural glue. This is the human connection created by facial expressions, subtle reactions, eye contact, the stuff that just naturally keeps viewers engaged longer. Think of it this way. Talking to a human face is like chatting with a buddy at a coffee shop, while a faceless video, well, it can sometimes feel like listening to a monotone hospital intercom. We are biologically wired to stare at human faces. Even if a video's pacing slows down, a simple raised eyebrow or a smile keeps us hooked. That is the natural glue holding the audience's attention. And this brilliantly illustrates the divide. Traditional videos have this massive built-in advantage. On the flip side, you have the faceless weakness. You are relying entirely on static visuals and your editing pacing. Because you lack that natural glue, the algorithm is scrutinizing your retention curve much more closely. Why? Because viewers simply drop off faster. Let's run a quick mental experiment. If you take the exact same script, put it on a highly energetic face-to-camera video, and then put it on a slow, statically edited faceless video, the faceless one will absolutely hemorrhage viewers. And that sharp retention drop, it directly tells the algorithm, hey, this video isn't worth pushing.
Section 3. The Hidden 30-Second Danger. 10 seconds. I need to deliver a hard truth here. Probably one of the most important takeaways from this entire explainer. A boring 10 seconds on a faceless video hurts you exponentially more than the exact same boring 10 seconds on a face-to-camera video. Why is that? Well, because when there's a face on screen, a viewer who's maybe only half watching or checking their phone might stick around purely out of curiosity about the human being on screen. They have a personality to fall back on. But in a faceless video, if absolutely nothing visually interesting happens for 10 seconds, poof, they're gone. And once they click away, there's no getting them back.
Which brings us to the number 30. Your first 30 seconds are an absolute battleground. Because of that brutal 10-second rule we just talked about, this 30-second window is where faceless videos either secure a viewer for the long haul or lose them forever. Your hook, your pacing, your visual variety, they have to work flawlessly in this make-or-break window to survive the algorithm's intense scrutiny. Seriously, if you don't earn their attention right here, the rest of your meticulously researched, beautifully written script doesn't even matter.
Section 4. The suppression myth debunked.
Now, what's really interesting about this quote is how it completely reframes the issue. If your retention is tanking in those first 30 seconds and your views are flatlining, it is so easy to jump straight to conclusions about shadow banning, right? But the reality is exactly this. It's not punishment, it's just the system doing what it's designed to do. YouTube isn't sitting there secretly banning your Faceless channel. What's actually happening is way more subtle, and it's entirely driven by math. If your channel consistently has weak retention because it lacks that natural glue we talked about, the algorithm simply stops testing your videos to broader audiences. It pulls back. It shows your content to fewer people, because the data is explicitly screaming that viewers aren't sticking around. So from the outside, yeah, it totally looks like you're being suppressed. But from the inside, it's just cold, hard retention data doing exactly what it was programmed to do.
Let's move to Section 5, Strategies to Fix Your Channel. All right, enough doom and gloom about the problem. You understand the invisible engagement gap, you get why viewers are bailing, and you know the algorithm isn't out to get you. So how do we fix it? We are going to artificially recreate that missing natural glue and get the system working for us. So the crucial point is mastering these 4 exact steps. Step 1, front load your hook. Those first 5 to 10 seconds need to absolutely earn the rest of the watch time, no excuses, every single time you upload. Step 2, cut your visuals way more aggressively than you think you need to. Step 3, use pattern interrupts constantly. And Step 4, actively analyze your retention graphs. Let's break down exactly how to execute these, starting with those visual techniques. To replace that missing natural glue, you have to use essential pattern interrupts. Because you don't have a human face to do the work, new visual angles and these specific tools basically become your new facial expressions. You need a brand new visual angle every few seconds just to keep the viewer's eye tracking. You need sudden zooms to simulate leaning in to share a juicy secret. You need crisp sound effects and dynamic text pop-ups to basically snap the brain's attention back just when it starts to wander off. These tools literally do the heavy lifting that a human personality would normally do. They artificially build a bridge right over that engagement gap.
But listen, you can't just guess if this stuff is working. You have to get your hands dirty, find the exact drop-off points in your analytics, and fix it next time. You must actively watch your own retention graphs. Look for the exact second where that line takes a nosedive and people bail. Ask yourself, okay, was there a static image sitting on screen for 12 seconds? Was my voiceover dragging? Did I totally forget to use a pattern interrupt? You find that specific weak point and you systematically crush it in your very next upload. That is the actual secret to growth. Which leaves us with one final, totally provocative question for you to consider today. Will your next 10 seconds survive the algorithm? Faceless channels are absolutely not secretly punished. They just have to work smarter, for sure. You have to master your hooks, your pacing, and just relentless visual variety. If you can deeply understand these rules and aggressively apply them, your faceless content can absolutely compete and win against literally any face-to-camera channel out there. So take a hard, honest look at your latest timeline and ask yourself, are those next 10 seconds truly engaging enough to survive? You've absolutely got this. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. I really hope this completely changes how you build your content moving forward.